Last time on Scale Icons, I started my deep dive into Batmobile model history by looking at the inspirations from comics as far back as 1950, through the campy TV classic of the 60s, and finally up to another classic, Saturday morning cartoons of the late 1970s. If you haven't watched it yet, I've included a link in the description below where you can see where this particular journey began. Today we're going to see how campy evolved into gothic noir, and then back to campy again. But regardless of the design, everyone still seems to love the Batmobile.
Chicks dig the car.
Everyone loves the Batmobile. The same rules apply. 4 wheels and a steering wheel are mandatory for a Batmobile to be considered for this list. So lean back in your chair, slide under your desk, and meet me in the Batcave for part 2 of the history of Batmobile models, here on Scale Icons. "1989 was the year of the Bat. For the first time in 23 years, Batman was back on the big screen, this time brought to life with director Tim Burton's dark and gothic style that left the Batusi in the dust. Well, in retrospect, not that dark, but trust me, this was a big deal at the time. Although the design of this new Batmobile is often credited solely to production designer Anton Furst, it was actually concept illustrator Julian Caldo, a member of Furst's team of talented artists, that came up with the initial design. Caldo managed to capture the essence of a Batmobile, while providing many all-new design elements, reminiscent of a massive 1930s roadster, but featuring callbacks to the bearish design such as bat wings and, of course, an afterburner engine. This new take on the Batmobile was as aggressive as it was beautiful, and it was instantly iconic. Of all the Batmobiles on this list, the 1989 design is perhaps tied with the 1966 version as the one that will live forever in pop culture memory. Since the film's release in 1989, there have been 5 different licensed model kits released. Of course, the first was AMT's original 1/25th scale kit that coincided with the film's release in 1989. This beautifully designed model kit was molded in black with many chrome parts, and it featured a removable canopy to expose a detailed interior, rubber tires, and options to model deployed machine guns and grappling hooks. One very cool promotion with the initial release was a mail-in offer to obtain a vacuum-formed armored shield. Just like the one in the movie, it was designed to fit over the top of the model. And it looked just as convincing. The kit was re-released by AMT twice, first in 1992 alongside the sequel, Batman Returns, and again in 2003. After AMT was acquired by Round 2, the model was re-released again in 2015 in true Round 2 fashion, with an additional detail parts, as well as a paper backdrop of Gotham City. 2018 was the kit's most recent release, this time with the addition of a resin Batman figure. So here's how popular Batman was in 1989. In addition to the AMT kit getting all the press, there are also 2 licensed kits released in Japan. Kabaya released a tiny 10.5cm long version of the Batmobile that came with an equally tiny version of Batman about 3 centimeters tall. Not to mention a package of chewing gum. Because of course it did. Meanwhile, Aoshima released a nifty 143 scale snap-together kit that was also motorized and required
Atomic batteries to power.
Nope, 2 AA batteries. Apparently powered Batmobile models were a great idea, because in 1990 AMT Ertl released a small 12.5cm long Batmobile under the clumsily named Power Racer banner. Power Racer. Wait a minute. Oh, I get it. This odd-looking snap-together kit had a 2-speed transmission and was powered by
Atomic batteries.
No, again, 2 AA batteries. The design made its return to the big screen in 1992's Batman Returns. Virtually unchanged, but this time with a bit more screen time than its original outing. However, one memorable set piece featured Batman's escape from a soon-to-be-destroyed Batmobile by transforming the 2-seater car into the rather awkward-looking one-seat Bat Missile. Sigmund Freud would be impressed. So of course, AMT released a 1/25th scale Bat Missile to correspond with the film's debut. This snap-together kit featured a removable canopy and rubber tires. And I know what you're thinking, this violates the rules for my list. But hold on, I'm counting 4 wheels and a steering wheel. So, it's a Batmobile. AMT Ertl reissued this kit in 2003, with Round 2 following suit with another repop in 2017. Aoshima got back into the Batmobile business in 2013 with a new 1/32nd scale kit that featured a removable cockpit canopy and, according to one source, a posable steering wheel. A posable steering wheel. Because if there's one feature modelers have been demanding from their car models, it's posable steering wheels. Here's something to look forward to. Bandai has teamed up with Sideshow Collectibles to offer a brand new 1/35th scale model kit. This model will be molded in a unique metallic matte finish, and will feature a sliding canopy, highly detailed cockpit and turbine engines, deployable machine guns, and grappling hooks. If you're interested, place your orders now because they're scheduled to ship in May of 2022. "1995's Batman Forever" was the third installment in the franchise. With new director Joel Schumacher came a whole new look that felt closer to the campy spirit of 1966 than the gothic melodrama of the previous 2 movies. Among the most obvious changes, aside from Val Kilmer replacing Michael Keaton, was a completely redesigned Batmobile. Production designer Barbara Ling and concept artist Tim Flattery came up with a design that resembled a biomechanical monster on wheels. With its exposed engine glowing blue behind black ribs, it certainly looked the part. Various design elements were carried over from previous Batmobile designs. The enormous Batwing recalled the Batmobile of the 1950s, the turbine engine and Bat logos on the wheels paid homage to the George Barris design, and a sliding canopy over the 2-seat cockpit served as a callback to the previous 2 Tim Burton films. Say what you want about the movie's artistic merits, it was the highest grossing movie in America that year. And it actually earned more than its predecessor, Batman Returns. But this success did not translate into licensed model kits in the same way that the previous movies did. Only 2 versions of this Batmobile have ever been produced as a kit. Revell released a series of 3 licensed Batman model kits in 1995, including a 1/25th scale Batmobile. Molded in black with tons of chrome parts, an opening canopy, and rubber tires, the kit even came with 2 separate vertical fins, giving hobbyists the option to model it open or closed. Of course, the rationale for this feature was never actually explained in the movie or even in the kit instructions. I don't know, low bridges? In Japan, Hasegawa Monogram re-released the same kit in 1996 but with a different box cover. This Batmobile model has been out of production for many years, but later this year Round 2 will be re-releasing it. Details are scarce, but I'm assuming Round 2 will be adding in a few extra features as they seem to do with all of their repops. The only other model kit of this Batmobile was offered by Bandai in 2005. This impressive 1/35th scale snap-together kit went where the earlier Revell kit did not, by offering an integral lighting kit to bring all those glowing blue bits to life. This model also featured posable wheels and tail fin, as well as an opening cockpit. Oh boy. The absolute bottom of the barrel for Batman on film. 1997's Batman and Robin was a critical and box office flop, and for good reason. Joel Schumacher doubled down on the black lights, the neon, and the overblown production design in every aspect of this movie, resulting in a final product that really pleased nobody. The Batmobile in this outing was restyled by returning production designer Barbara Ling into a single-seat, open-air roadster inspired by classic sports cars like the Jaguar D-Type and the Delahaye 165. Like her previous Batmobile design, this one featured illuminated wheels and engine panels, but the knob was definitely turned up to 11, with the glowing intake and multiple jet exhausts. To my eyes, this was the most outrageous and ridiculous Batmobile ever committed to film. Given the lack of love for this movie, it's really no surprise that only one model kit of this design was ever produced. Revell Monogram released a 1/25th scale kit in 1997 that included a Batman figure. This kit went out of production at almost the same time the movies were booed out of theaters. No word yet on whether Round 2 will be re-releasing this kit, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because that's their business model. So that was part 2 of my look at the Batmobile models inspired by movies released in the 80s and 90s. At least one of these kits was one of the best-selling Batmobile kits of all time, so if you built any of them, tell me about it in the comments below. Coming up next is part 3 and the conclusion to this series, where I look at the grittier and more grounded Batmobile designs. Of course, when we're talking about a car with a jet engine in it, grounded is an entirely subjective term. Don't forget to check out my other videos, including part 1 of this series. And if you like this one, please click that like button, and while you're at it, click subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a single video. You've been watching Scale Icons, and I'll see you at the workbench.